Authenticity isn't a nice to have in leadership. It's a non-negotiable. In a world full of facades, only your truth is the boldest move you can make. Welcome to the Danni Vee Show, the podcast for high-performing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs ready to lead with elegance, courage, and radical responsibility. I'm Danni Vee, and I'm here to help you strip away the fluff and step fully into your power at the boardroom and in business. In each episode, we'll share no-nonsense insights and real conversations on what it takes to show up authentically, make tough decisions with grace, and create impact at the highest levels. So if you're ready to own your voice and lead on your terms, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Danni Vee Show. Today, I want to dive into something that's really been coming strong in my arena lately, and that is the cost of overthinking in business and leadership. Now, there's a behavior that almost every high-performing leader I work with struggles with at some point, and it is usually the most capable people who fall into it, and that is overthinking. I have been in this space so many times, and it takes such an effort and focus awareness to dive out of it. So, overthinking. On the surface, it looks like responsibility. It looks like you care about getting things right. It looks strategic. Over time, it becomes incredibly expensive, and not just emotionally. It becomes expensive in business, leadership, and in growth. I've seen leaders delay decisions for months because they were trying to find a perfect answer. I've seen business owners soften their positioning, question themselves after every meeting, or replay conversations in their head long after everyone else has moved on. And if I'm honest, I've caught myself doing this time and time again. There've been moments in my business where I knew exactly what the next step was. The strategy was clear. The opportunity was there. And yet instead of moving, I sat with it. I questioned it. I analyzed it. I went for external validation. I wondered how it would land, what people might think, whether it was the right thing or the right timing. And this wasn't because I lacked the capability to actually execute the thing. It's because the decision required me to expand. And expansion always creates that little bit of friction internally, that unknown, that uncertainty. One of the things neuroscience teaches us is that the brain is wired for efficiency, safety, and certainty. It prefers familiar patterns, even if those patterns are limiting. Crazy, right? So when you're about to make a decision that stretches you, whether that raises your prices, stepping into a bigger leadership role, launching something new, or speaking more boldly about your work, your nervous system can interpret that expansion as risk. And when the brain senses risk, it tries to regain control. Overthinking is one of the most common ways it does that. It feels productive. It feels like you're being careful, but in reality, it keeps you in the same place. It keeps you safe and it keeps you in that certainty. I see this particularly with high-performing women in business and leadership. They've built credibility. They've proven themselves. They're incredibly capable. And yet internally, there can be a constant dialogue running in the background. Have I thought about this enough? Should I wait a little longer? Maybe, what if I'm missing something? The irony is that the very people asking these questions are often the ones who have the most insight and experience to draw from. Overthinking slowly erodes self-trust. And when self-trust erodes, leadership becomes heavier. This is where my Embody framework becomes really relevant in the work that I do. The work I do with leaders isn't just about strategy or performance. It's actually about the internal architecture that supports how you lead. Embody stands for energy, mindset, body, ownership, direction, and you. So when someone is stuck in overthinking, it usually means one of those areas is out of alignment. Often it's ownership. So not the ownership in the sense of responsibility, but ownership of your voice and your decisions and your authority. At some point in leadership, you have to stop asking for permission. When you are leading your business, you have to stop asking for permission. And that is not from other people all the time. It's actually from yourself. You have to trust that the experience you've built, the pattern recognition you've developed over time, and the judgment you've refined over time is enough to move forward. So this doesn't mean that you always get it right. We're human, right? I get it wrong so often as well. No leader does get it right every single time. No business owner gets it right every single time. But strong leadership is rarely found in those perfect decisions. But strong leadership is rarely about perfect decisions. It's about clean decisions. So decisions are made with awareness, conviction, and the willingness to adjust if needed. So going into that uncertainty, overthinking delays this process. It keeps leaders circling the same point, convincing themselves they are being strategic when really they are just avoiding the discomfort of expansion. And the cost of that over time is growth. That is growth in your business, growth in your leadership, growth in who you become, your identity. And if you recognize yourself in this, the answer isn't to force yourself to stop thinking. It's to build the internal capacity to trust your own judgment. That's where leadership becomes lighter, not easier, but clearer. So if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to encourage you to take a moment and notice where overthinking might be slowing your leadership down, might be slowing your business growth down. Awareness alone changes everything. And if you know a leader or business owner who really tends to carry a lot of internally, you see them second guessing themselves more than they want to admit, send this episode their way. These are the conversations that help people lead more powerfully. I'll see you in the next episode. And remember, who you become determines what you build. Thank you so much for joining me on the Danni Vee Show today. I hope you're leaving this episode feeling inspired and empowered. My goal is always to bring you elegant insights with a bold impact. If you enjoyed our conversation, I invite you to subscribe to the show and leave a quick review. Your feedback not only means the world to me, but it also helps other growth-minded leaders find this community. Remember, leadership is an inside-out journey. The poise, the passion, and the purpose we cultivate within ourselves are what transform the world around us. So until next time, stay true to your vision and keep leading with the unique mix of grace and strength. Stay radiant, stay resilient, and I'll be right here cheering you on. I can't wait to hang out with you again on the next episode of the Danni Vee Show.